Oh, we're live. Welcome to the live, everyone. Excuse me. So I was going to have a quick chat about making emotional decisions. And I spoke about this before, but the way to explain it this time is to tell you a little story, right? Something that's happening right now. So, the other day, 2 days ago, I had to go and see a very special friend of mine who helped me create some products and things like this, right? So I had to go and see this friend about getting some help from her, right, in terms of new products and also a little bit of things like investment decisions and things like this, right? So it was like a business meeting, right? And she said to me, she said, "Oh, I've got to view a new house, right? So I need to view a house. It's all right if do you want to come with me, go and view the house?" I thought, yeah, I know a lot about property and all that kind of thing. I'll help her out, go and have a view, give a second opinion. So I turned up at this place. Apparently she'd been looking around all over, like, and found this place, and it looked like it had great potential. And I had a quick look at when you see the sort of bird's eye view of the place. And I thought, great, let's go and have a look at it. Saw the price, looked a good offer, really. I knew it was going to be the sort of place that needed doing up, but as a project, it looked fantastic. So I went with her, we went viewing it, and as soon as you arrived, I just thought, yeah, this has got something to it straight away. When you kind of, and I did this with my house, like I turned up, and the first thing you notice is like maybe it's like a little bit run down, but it's a nice solid building, but you're gonna have to renovate the place. And it's a project, but you can kind of tell sometimes because when I was driving around, I was like, right, make sure sun orientation. A big thing I always think about is what's important is how peaceful it's going to be there, the position, the plot, what's the sun orientation to where you're going to live, and all that kind of thing. Little technical decisions. So I'm used to that. And we turned up and it seemed great, and I could tell that there was so much about it straight away, and she felt the same. Walked around, had a look at it, talked about it. I could see the potential straight away, come away thinking, that's the place, right? It was, and the person showing us around was kind of talking it down a bit. They were not selling it at all. They were talking about how awkward it was and the fact that it had. The thing is, this place had like, they said, oh, it's just gone on the market, but they've had 2 viewings. No, 10 viewers or 10 people view it and consider it. And no one's thrown an offer in. And it was already cheap. No one had put an offer in. And so we were having a bit of a chat going back, and I said, I'll tell you why no one's putting an offer in. Because it's quite an odd place, this. Most people, because when you find a house that's just done, it's fucking laminated and it's polished and it's finished, right? They sell really quick because a lot of people just want to move in, right? But if you're already looking for a project, this is where you can get a bargain, but you are then committed to a lot of work. But I knew why no one had put an offer in, because it was quirky, right? It was a little bit quirky, and it's hard to see the vision. But if you're that type of person, you can see. I did it like I could see the vision, and you can get a right steal when you find a place like that with vision and you know how to do it. Now, so we come away, we had a bit of a chat, done, and it was like, it's up for X amount, and I was like, oh, offers over, that kind of thing, right? But I just went, just go 10 lower, 10 grand lower. The reason why I said go 10 grand lower, because they'd not had any offers. The guy showed the hand, he was showing us around. He said, no one's put any offers in yet. So I thought, right, okay, don't bid them in the nuts. Don't absolutely bid them in the nuts, in the bollocks, because you can get insulted, but just go in 10 under, right? Because you'd happily accept the asking price was sort of fair, right? But if you go 10 under, you might go halfway, save yourself 5 grand. So that was the deal, right? So she put the offer in 10 grand lower, right? And I thought, right, leave it. Now, went back to the vendors, and there was a day, maybe a day. She could not fucking wait, right? Because she was emotionally invested in this thing, right? She reckons she's not emotionally invested, but it is emotional, right? because you make purchases based on your emotions. You know, we buy things emotionally and then rationalize it later with like logic and things. So she put the offer in 10 grand lower, and then I think the agent rang back and said, right, we put the offer to them, they're just gonna have a chat. Right, good, that's fine. We were in our business meeting at this point. And then the next day, which was yesterday, she rang me up and she went, the agent's not come back to me yet. What should I do? And I can already, you can already sense that she's sort of like, anxiety is getting the better of you, right? And this is where you're going to make a mistake, because a professional negotiator knows this. So let's say you've laid down a marker, you put an offer in, and it's like playing tennis. You need to wait until they counter offer. And apparently they didn't counter offer. They came back to her with, well, you know, they're just considering it and all this. And but it wasn't a proper counter offer. And what actually happened is my friend went back and she almost like bidded against herself and stuck the 10 on and went back in with the extra 10. And I was like, fuck, what are you doing? Right? Because anxiety is getting the better of you. You're actually now in a bidding war with yourself. The agent must be sat back thinking, right, we can sense this. So it was like, right, if you, instead of just sitting back and waiting for a proper refusal, if you're going to go back and you're a bit impatient on your offer, you should press them first on a decision on your current offer. Don't outbid yourself and add another in. Anyway, right. Hi, how you doing? Oh, you're from Scotland. Yeah, nice to meet you. How are you doing? Anyway, so that went on, right? So she went back, put the 10 in. So it's now at the asking price, right? And the problem with this is she's now sat there waiting for this decision. And because she didn't wait for a full decision on the first offer, gone in with another, she's actually bought the vendor an absolute shitload of time. And you've shown your hand there, you know what I mean? And this is why, and I do get it, because when you find a place like that, you don't want to lose it, because I've had houses in the past where you nickel and dime on them and you end up losing them, and it's like whatever. But when you find the right place, you do want it. But I think in that scenario, I should have just held back. So if you think about what's driving this, well, it is emotional, isn't it? Right? And it falls into, I've done some videos in the past on loss aversion. You know, we generally buy things on pain or pleasure. I mean, I've not got it with me now, I should have brought it, but David Ogilvy's advertising book covers this perfectly when he talks about what drives people to buy things. It's usually some kind of emotional decision. It's either a pain or a pleasure trigger, right? We buy because there's some pain, or we buy because, you know, there's some kind of pleasure experience associated with it. And then we react. But, you know, this was kind of a bit of both. You know, initially it's like chucking an offer in for pleasure. And then because you can't handle waiting for that offer, you've then, you know, there's a pain there. You've gone back in and bidded against yourself. And it's all based on that kind of loss aversion. You know, people will do more to avoid pain than they will to seek pleasure. So avoiding the pain of waiting and losing the house, you go in with another 10 grand and just, you know, you end up outbidding yourself and costing yourself more money. The smarter, it's not smart, because I don't think there is a smart thing here. It's not about being smart, you know, because she's very, very smart, a lot smarter than me. And she's actually made some absolute brilliant decisions in life, you know, got her own money, all that kind of thing, lots and lots of success, made some cracking decisions. She's got a lot of property investment. But those properties are like investments, you know, you're not emotionally attached to where you live. So you've got to forgive it. I do believe that your environment, your personal environment, needs to be somewhere where you can enjoy, you know, and sometimes that might not be exactly what everyone wants. So, you know, most people, the reason why this place didn't get an offer in, because it isn't fucking laminated. You know, when you go up to these houses and they're just big frontage, loud as hell, and they might have, like, you know, multiple cars on the drive and all that kind of thing. we used to say keeping up with the Joneses, you know what I mean? Whereas what you really should be going for is something that is a bit more, let's say, low key, reserved, but has fantastic potential. That no one else can. You want a place that you can see the value that no one else can, that you know you can turn into something. That's how you're going to get a smart buying decision, because the person that the vendor has lived in it, like 90 odd, you know, an older lady, like 95-year-old, lived in it since it were built. So that tells me something. That tells me that it's a nice, pleasant place to live. You know, if someone's not in a, you know, they're happy there the whole life, that is a massive, big signal to me. You know, rather than these houses where people spend 2 years in a move and then another people come in for 6 months and it's constantly changing hands and, you know, all that kind of thing. There's cars coming and going all the time. That's not peaceful, right? So, yeah, I think, you know, a great book, I've talked about this book before in my video, 40 Lessons from 40 Books, but the best book to read on the psychology of this stuff is this one, Thinking Fast and Slow. Daniel Kahneman. I've done a few videos on this. I've got a shit ton of notes in it. And basically, absolutely the best book to explain loss aversion and sort of, you know, developing that trader's mindset and not allowing your emotions to step in and mess up a negotiation when it involves money. Because, you know, it's a game. A negotiation is like a game of tennis, you know. You put in an anchor point, right? When we went to view it, the guy that was showing us round had already downplayed it, you know, he'd done nothing for the vendor there. He'd sort of said, oh yeah, it's awkward to reverse it. It wasn't. It was like massive frontage. You could have widened that drive and everything. It was just like nitpicking on things that you wouldn't nitpick about. And then it was like, oh yeah, we've had 10 viewings, but no one's put an offer in. You shouldn't have said that, because that's him laying a marker, showing their hand basically. Him showing his hand there meant I was like, right, don't give it, even if it says offers over, go under that, because he's already said they've had no offers. So I think if you go 10 under, you might get it. Don't take the piss on them deals. Can't take the piss because, you know, you really want the place and you don't want to offend. So he'd shown the hand first weaker in that negotiation, right, by saying those things on the viewing. So you go in with your offer, and then it's a game of tennis. You sit and wait. And sometimes when the agent rings you, oh yeah, we've not got an update, but I think they're going to say this and that. They might be trying you. They might be testing if you've got a weakness. And if you reveal your hand with, let's say, anxiety, and then go and outbid yourself, you've basically showed your hand. And then they know that all they have to do is sit back, see if you get like a little bit agitated again because they've not come back, and you might come in and add another 5. And if you were to go back and add another 5 thinking it's sealing the deal, they just sit back, you know, and they know they could just go maybe 10 more, maybe 20 more, who knows, you know. And at the end of the day, there's only one bidder bidding against themselves. You know, that one bidder is bidding against their own internal mind. Why am I not getting this property? Well, you've not waited for a decision, right? And because you've not waited for a decision, you've then bidded against yourself. So it's very, very careful. I think I put a couple of comments in the description on this. There's a couple of things when it comes to loss aversion. One is that, you know, it's a game of tennis and understanding like, you know, the power of negotiation, and who's got the upper hand. It's a game of tennis. You put an offer in and you wait. And the other one is you've also got to watch your ego sometimes when you buy. You know, if sometimes it's like, you know, trading crypto or stocks. You can just buy things just because you want to look cool and that kind of thing. Oh, I think I'm going to earn all this money. That's another decision as well that you might make that can be turning out wrong. So yeah, nice little tale. I would suggest that you read about loss aversion in this book. and understand, you know, you don't want to get into a bidding war with your own emotions, you know, think about it emotionally. There is one bidder there against one bidder, and that bidder can't wait for a decision because they really want that deal to go through, let's say in a day or 2 days. Some people take longer. But going back with an offer that counters your original offer is just I don't think it's the way to go, because you're almost like fighting against yourself. You know, when we one of the difficulties with the human brain is, you know, we our thoughts and everything create stories in our heads that might not be true. Who knows what's happening on the other end? You know, I think the vendor had to speak to family, and you know, they could have been busy or whatever. One question. Right, go on. What's this? English or Spanish? Spanish, please. What in the Bob the Builder is going on here? I don't know. Anyway, question, please, in Spanish. And then I've got to shoot. Okay, right. Don't think the question's coming. Listen, thanks for listening. Don't forget to watch my video, 40 lessons from 40 books. And yeah, see you all next time. Thanks for listening.